Imagine this. You're sitting in your favorite coffee shop, the same one you've been going to for years. You order your usual, a medium latte, maybe a croissant. The barista rings you up, $7.50. You tap your card without thinking twice. But here's what's different today. That $7.50, it literally took you 3 minutes to earn. While you were walking from your car to the counter, your investments made you more money than that coffee costs. That's not a fantasy. That's just Tuesday when you're a millionaire. But hold on. Before you think this is just another get-rich-quick video, let me stop you right there. This isn't about Lamborghinis or showing off stacks of cash on Instagram. This is about the very real, very specific ways that your entire existence shifts once you cross that 7-figure threshold. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff. I'm talking about changes so fundamental that they alter how you think, how you sleep, how you make decisions, and even how other people treat you when they have absolutely no idea how much money you have in the bank. See, most people think becoming a millionaire is just about having more money, more zeros in your account, a bigger number on your net worth statement. They're completely wrong. It's about entering a completely different game with completely different rules, different players, and different objectives. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what I mean. You're going to see the invisible lines that separate the millionaire class from everyone else, and more importantly, you're going to understand how to cross those lines yourself. The first one, 100,000, is brutal, but the first million changes the physics. Let me paint you a picture of what the journey looks like. When you're starting out, saving your first $10,000 feels like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops while carrying a refrigerator on your back. You're cutting back on absolutely everything. You're meal prepping chicken and rice for the 6th week in a row. You're bringing lunch to work in Tupperware while your coworkers go out to restaurants. You're saying no to your friends when they want to go out because you literally cannot afford another $50 dinner and drinks night. Your social life suffers. Your comfort suffers. Everything suffers because you're trying to build something. Then you hit $50,000 in savings, and it feels absolutely amazing. Until you do the math and realize that at this rate, even if you're saving aggressively, it's going to take you 15 to 20 years to become a millionaire. The math is genuinely depressing. You're working 60-hour weeks, you're maxing out your 401k, you're driving a used car, you're living below your means, you're doing everything the personal finance books tell you to do, and still, that $1 million mark feels like it's on another planet entirely. It feels unreachable, but here's what nobody tells you, what they don't teach you in school, what most people never figure out. Money doesn't grow linearly. It grows exponentially. And once you hit that $1 million mark, the entire game changes. Because now you have enough capital for your money to start making serious, life-changing money while you sleep, while you're on vacation, while you're spending time with your family. Let me break this down with real numbers so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. If you have $100,000 invested and it grows at 10% annually, which is roughly the historical average of the stock market, you make $10,000 that year. That's cool. That's nice. That's a decent bonus. But if you have $1 million invested at that same 10% return, you just made $100,000. Think about that for a second. $100,000. That's more than the median American household income, and you didn't have to lift a finger. You didn't have to commute, you didn't have to answer emails, you didn't have to deal with a difficult boss or sit through pointless meetings. Your money just worked. It compounded. It grew. This is what Charlie Munger meant when he said the first 100,000 is a grind, an absolute brutal slog, but it's the foundation for everything else that comes after. Because once you have 7 figures working for you, compound interest shifts from being this abstract concept you learned about in a high school math class to being a tangible force that actively changes your life every single day. You start to feel it. You see it in your account balance. You experience it in your daily life. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Once you have that $1 million working, getting to $2 million happens faster, and getting to $3 million happens faster still. The velocity increases. The momentum builds. What took you 10 years to achieve the first time might only take you 4 years. The second time. That's the exponential curve in action. Time becomes your most valuable asset, and you finally have it. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough in personal finance circles. When you're broke or middle class, you trade time for money. That's the fundamental transaction of employment. That's the whole system we're all born into. You go to work, you sell 8 hours of your day, you get paid a salary or hourly wage, your time has a price tag, and you sell it to survive. But when you're a millionaire, that equation completely flips. You start using money to buy time, and that changes everything. And I'm not just talking about hiring a housekeeper or getting your groceries delivered or paying someone to mow your lawn, though yes, you absolutely do those things, and they're wonderful. I'm talking about something way more profound, something that fundamentally alters how you move through the world. You start to realize that every single decision you make has an opportunity cost measured in time, not just dollars. Let me give you a concrete example from my own life. Before I had money, if my car broke down, I'd spend an entire Saturday watching YouTube videos, trying to figure out how to fix it myself. I'd drive to AutoZone, buy the parts, spend 6 hours in my driveway getting progressively more frustrated, probably mess something up and have to redo it, maybe skin my knuckles and curse a lot, and then finally feel accomplished that I saved $300 on labor costs. But once you have money, you run a completely different calculation. You realize those 6 hours, if you had spent them working on your business, creating content, networking with potential partners, or even just invested that time into learning a new skill that would make you more valuable, you could have generated way more than $300 in value, potentially thousands of dollars. So you pay someone else to fix the car, and you spend those 6 hours doing something that actually moves your life forward, something that compounds, something that builds toward your bigger goals. This is the shift that changes everything about how you operate. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "Is this worth my time?" And that question, that one simple reframing, unlocks a level of freedom that most people never experience in their entire lives. You stop waiting in lines because your time is worth more than the discount you'd get. You stop doing tasks you genuinely hate because you can pay someone else who's actually good at them and enjoys them to do them instead. You stop saying yes to obligations that drain your energy because you finally have the financial cushion to protect your time and attention. You become ruthlessly selective about what deserves your focus. And here's what's interesting. This doesn't make you lazy. Actually, the opposite happens. When you remove all the low-value tasks from your plate, you have more energy and focus for the high-value activities that actually move the needle. You become more productive, not less. You achieve more, not less. But you do it without burning out because you're not wasting your finite energy on things that don't matter. You start thinking in decades, not months or even years. Before you have money, you're completely stuck in short-term thinking mode. You're living paycheck to paycheck, so you're focused on next week, next month, maybe next quarter if you're lucky enough to have some breathing room. You can't think long-term because survival demands short-term focus. When you're worried about making rent, you can't really sit around pondering your 10-year vision. But once you have $1 million, once you have that foundation of security, your entire time horizon expands dramatically. It's like you've been looking at life through a narrow tunnel and suddenly the walls fall away and you can see the whole landscape. Suddenly you're thinking, where do I want to be in 10 years? What do I want my life to look like in 20 years? What impact do I want to have? What legacy do I want to leave behind when I'm gone? You start making decisions through a completely different framework. You stop chasing quick wins and short-term gains and start building things that compound over long periods of time. You invest in assets that will appreciate over decades, not months. You develop skills that will serve you for a lifetime, not just for your next job. You build relationships that will last forever, not just transactional connections. You think about how your decisions today will impact your life 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. This shift is subtle, but it's incredibly powerful because when you think in decades, you stop sweating the small stuff. A bad month doesn't ruin you or send you into a panic. A failed investment is just one data point in a much larger, longer-term strategy. You become patient, strategic, and focused relentlessly on the big picture rather than getting distracted by short-term noise. You also start thinking about generational wealth. You think about your kids, your grandkids, the family legacy you're building. You realize you're not just building wealth for yourself, you're potentially changing the trajectory of your entire family tree. Your children won't have to start from zero like you did. They'll have advantages, opportunities, and options that you didn't have. That's powerful motivation. People treat you differently, even when they don't know you have money. Here's something wild and unexpected that I didn't see coming at all. Even when people don't know you have money, even when you're not displaying wealth or driving a flashy car or wearing expensive clothes, they treat you differently. And it's not because you're showing off or flashing wealth or being ostentatious. It's because having money fundamentally changes your energy, your presence, your demeanor, the way you carry yourself through the world. When you're financially secure, you move through the world with quiet confidence. You don't have that desperate edge that comes from needing something from someone. You don't say yes to things out of fear of missing out or fear of consequences. You don't take disrespect or poor treatment because you need the paycheck or the opportunity. You have options. You have leverage. You have the power to walk away from anything that doesn't serve you. People pick up on this energy subconsciously. They sense it. They feel it. And they respond to it in measurable ways. Suddenly, you get noticeably better service at restaurants. Servers are more attentive. Managers come by to check on you. People listen more carefully when you speak in meetings. Your opinions carry more weight, even though you might be saying the exact same things you said before. You get taken more seriously in business negotiations. Doors that were closed before start opening. Opportunities appear that weren't there previously. And it's not about being arrogant or entitled or acting superior to anyone. It's actually the opposite. It's about the quiet self-assurance that comes from knowing deep in your bones that you have options. You're not coming from a place of scarcity and desperation. You're coming from a place of abundance and possibility. And people feel that energy. They respond to it. They're drawn to it. The paradox. You realize money is a tool, not the goal. Here's the biggest, most important shift of all, and it's something that only makes sense once you actually have money. Once you become a millionaire, you realize that money was never actually the point. It was never the destination. It was always just a tool, a vehicle, a means to get what you actually want, what you really crave deep down. What you really want is freedom. Freedom to spend your time however you choose. Freedom to say no to things that don't align with your values or serve your goals. Freedom to pursue projects and passions you genuinely care about without worrying about whether they'll pay the bills. Freedom to help the people you love without it creating financial stress for you. Freedom to take risks and try things and potentially fail without it destroying your life. Freedom to live life on your own terms, according to your own values, without having to compromise constantly. Money gives you that freedom. It opens doors. It creates options. It removes barriers. But once you have it, once you have that foundation, you realize something profound. More money doesn't necessarily equal more freedom or more happiness. The research backs this up. Studies show that happiness increases with income up to a point, somewhere around $75,000 to $100,000 annually, and then it plateaus. Going from 1 million to 10 million doesn't make you 10 times happier or 10 times freer. There are serious diminishing returns, so you stop chasing money for money's sake. You stop playing the comparison game of trying to have more than the next person. You start chasing impact, meaning fulfillment, purpose. You start asking deeper questions. What do I actually want to do with this life? What matters to me at my core? What do I want to build, create, or contribute to the world? How do I want to be remembered? And that's when things get really interesting. Because now you have the resources, the time, the freedom, and the security to actually make those things happen. You can take that big swing. You can start that passion project. You can pivot careers. You can travel for 6 months. You can write that book. You can start that nonprofit. You can do whatever calls to you without having to justify it to anyone or worry about it bankrupting you. The responsibility that comes with wealth. One thing that surprised me about becoming wealthy is the sense of responsibility that comes with it. When you have significant resources, you become acutely aware that you have the power to genuinely change people's lives. You can pay for someone's medical treatment. You can fund someone's education. You can save someone's business. You can support causes you believe in. That power is exhilarating but also weighty. You start thinking about impact differently. It's not just about you anymore. It's about what you can do with your resources to make the world better. Some people get into philanthropy. Some create jobs by starting businesses. Some mentor young people trying to follow in their footsteps. Everyone finds their own way to give back and contribute. There's also a responsibility to not waste it. You're aware that you've been given an opportunity that most people never get. Whether through hard work, smart decisions, luck, or all three, you've made it to a place where you have options and resources. Wasting that feels wrong. So you become more intentional about how you spend your time and money. The real game begins at $1 million. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that being a millionaire solves every problem in your life. It absolutely doesn't. You'll still have bad days. You'll still deal with difficult people. You'll still face challenges, setbacks, disappointments, and failures. You'll still struggle with relationships. You'll still deal with health issues. You'll still face existential questions about meaning and purpose. Money doesn't make you immune to the human experience, but what fundamentally changes is your capacity to handle those challenges. You have resources, you have options, you have leverage, you have support systems, and most importantly, you have the freedom to design your life instead of just reacting to whatever circumstances get thrown your way. You move from playing defense to playing offense. The first $100,000 teaches you discipline and delayed gratification. The first 500,000 teaches you patience and consistency. But the first $1 million? That's when you realize you've entered a completely different game. A game where your money works harder for you than you work for money. A game where time becomes your most precious resource and you get to decide how to spend it. A game where you get to define what winning actually means for you personally. So if you're on the path to that first $1 million right now, keep going. Keep grinding. I know it's hard. I know it feels like it's taking forever. I know there are days when you want to give up, when you wonder if it's worth it, when you see other people living it up on social media while you're eating meal prep and saying no to expensive dinners. But understand this fundamental truth. Every single dollar you save and invest today is a soldier fighting for your future freedom. And once you have enough soldiers on the battlefield, once you have that critical mass, the war is basically won. The view from the other side, it's worth every sacrifice you're making right now. Trust me on that. The life you're building, the freedom you're creating, the options you're generating, they're all waiting for you on the other side of this difficult period. Just keep moving forward. Your future self will thank you.